In this video, we're going to talk about a new WordPress plugin called FluentCommunity by WP Manage Ninja. They make some awesome tools that I like to use, like Fluent Forms, Fluent CRM, Fluent Booking, and a host of other things. I won't go down their entire catalog. But I think this is something that's really going to be a breakthrough in the industry because there are a lot of reasons why people need community. This also includes a course module, so you can host your courses with it as well. We'll go into a bit of that, and I kind of want to give you an overview of how and why and what FluentCommunity is in this video. There are going to be other videos that I do on FluentCommunity, quite simply because there's a lot to talk about here, and I want to share it with you. Before we get started, I've noticed that I do get some folks who come to my channel that have problems. They're looking for solutions of how to do things, and occasionally they reach out to me to get me as a consultant or a contractor to either build a WordPress website, help them manage their WordPress website, sometimes revamp it. And if that's the case, please feel free to reach out to me. You can contact me here on YouTube, or you can go to SuburbiaPress.com, go to the contact page, and let me know what it is that you need. If I can help you, I'm happy to do so and discuss your project and see what we can do. All right, so let's talk a little bit about community and why this is important, particularly to businesses. There are a number of reasons why you may want a community. Maybe you've got products that you sell and you want to engage with your community. Maybe you have a membership and you need community. The guy who runs the membership experience, Stu McLaren, likes to say that people come for the content, but they stay for the community. So this is a way to keep people engaged with your brand. And I think this can work very well for memberships. In fact, one of the things I'm probably going to do is replace my Searchy, which is now membership.io, subscription by using FluentCommunity. And one of the reasons for that is, despite the fact that Stu McLaren knows and talks about how important community is, they still haven't put it in membership.io. There are ways that you can comment on a post, on your site, but there's still no community. And I think that's a shame. They're using Facebook groups, which honestly, I've seen other people use Facebook groups, and it just takes people away from your business site and puts them in Facebook, which has a million ways to distract them from your message. So I'm really not a fan of using Facebook or social media groups like that. There are other places you can go. School is one of them. I'm in a couple of school groups actually, and they do a good job of bringing together communities. So there is a discussion or forum along with the same place where they have the courses loaded up. Circle.so is something people have looked at for community. I've never actually joined them. I've looked at their page a little bit. Matter of fact, let's take a look at their page now. All right, so you can see here I'm on the Circle.so website, and it's an all-in-one community platform for a number of different reasons, and they're just kind of putting this out. And you can, start, engage, you can monetize, which Fluent CRM will also allow you to monetize. And this little display right here shows what it's like inside of Circle.so. I think you're going to find that FluentCommunity took a lot of what Circle is doing. They've kind of expressed that they really like this, but they wanted to do a WordPress version of it. So a lot of the influence from Circle.so, if that's what you like, is in FluentCommunity. And let's just show you a little bit of that. All right, so this is on my own site. This is at support.suburbiapress.com/portal. And I'm still setting things up. This is incomplete. But what you see over here is you've got your feed, you've got different groups. So communities is a group, and there's no spaces underneath it. Then you've got another group, and underneath these are spaces. So you can add to that. So if you come over here to look at spaces, you can see that there's only two. Start here and say hello. Those are by default with FluentCommunity. If you want to add another space, you can do that. And you can also move these things around. So for example, if we come down to settings, we'll go to space groups, you'll see there is our group. These are our spaces. And if we want to do something, we can click on this. We can select a different group. Let's say we want to start here up to communities, and we can just move that up there. So now I've still got two groups and two spaces. All I've done really is just move them around. So it's easy really to get these things set up so that you can change them back around and organize your community the way you want. Let me show you one that's a little bit more active, and that's going to be on Fluent Communities group itself. All right, so here we are on the community.wpmanageninja.com site, and you can see that I'm on the feed. There are spaces, so if I click on this, you can see there's spaces for Fluent Boards, Fluent Community, and Fluent CRM. You'll also see that over here on this side. So groups, we've got up here, Get Started, and there are spaces for that group. Product discussions, these are spaces for that group. This section are just product links. So you can see the link icon right over here. And if we click on one of these, it will go to their products. That's a quick way to look at the organization. If we click on one of these, so Fluent Community Founders, I've been part of the beta test for this. And this is where you can see what it looks like inside. Again, it is very much like what you see in Circle.so. And I don't know if you're supposed to just call it Circle.so, or Circle.so. Forgive me if I've screwed that up. And you can see that you can look at posts. Are there any announcements out here? And they're showing a lifetime deal that they brought up just for the folks who are part of the beta. There will be a lifetime deal announcement that will come out for the general public. And it's just a little bit less than what we see for the folks who've been beta testing. So basically what they did is they doubled this for the beta testers. So the deal that's coming out will be 1 site license for $199, 5 site licenses for $399, and this one, I don't know if that'll be 15 or so for $699. And then they've got another option for 100 site licenses. And all right, so after this exclusive deal, here we go. It'll be 1, 5, 15, and 50. So they're basically doubling this for the people who participated in the beta test. I like what we see over here. We've got places up here for announcements. If there are any bug reports, you can basically segment this stuff down of what's in this particular discussion area or this space. And you can put in feature requests. And then, of course, there's general stuff. You've got an about page over here. You've got some featured posts. These are things that have been pinned. And this is recent activity of, so here's something that just 8 minutes ago that came up. And then there's me commenting on someone's feature request about a half hour before I started recording this. And it looks pretty nice to me. So we've got simple things. You can bookmark a particular discussion. You can see the category, the hashtag general, that's what I'm in. You can see everything all at once. And then you can click on these things over here if you want to copy the link. Maybe you want to share this someplace else. You can sort by latest post or a variety of other things over here. And you can kind of collapse everything over here and look in a list view, or just look at all the posts. So if you just want to see the titles, you can collapse that, or you can expand it to see all the information that's in there. You can also look at members. Now, this is something that you can hide. And matter of fact, let's go back to my setup, and I kind of want to walk you through the general settings. So I'm in here on my portal settings, and you can see down at the bottom here, I just click on settings, and that gets me to this. So when you're setting this up, you've got all sorts of things that you can configure. First, we'll look at all these categories for the settings, and of course, the course management. And let's start off with general. You've got your community title. You can have your logos, both for light background and dark background. They give you the dimensions that work. An open graph image. In other words, if this is going to be found on search, or if this is going to be the size that shows up as a banner, you can put something there. Your global post status, you can enable or disable. And they'll let you know, it's basically just a checkbox. If you enable this, the user can post globally without selecting a space, which means everyone can see it. I've decided I don't want to do that. Who has access? It's like everyone, only logged in users, or only selected roles. So for example, in WordPress, you have roles, you've got administrators, you've got editors and so forth. So for my case, I want logged in users. I want people to log into the site. I don't want this to be open to everyone who comes along, because I want a little bit of commitment. I want people to have a user account if they're going to be a user on my system. If you're going to have a redirect URL, so for public users, someone comes here, they're not logged in, I'm just going to send them back to the home page for my website. And then the login URL, this is here by default for default authentication, and they'll give you a URL, so you can just click and copy that. And as you go along, you can save the settings. So there's them there and one up here. For customizations, you can enable dark mode, or if you don't want that, just like this, turn it off. Not everybody wants dark mode, but some people do. You can enable sticky page headers across the portal, which means that the headers are going to stay there even as you scroll down the page. Show the default link on the left sidebar. That would be this part over here when we were looking at the different spaces and groups. Do you want to show powered by? And this is something that you can add. It says powered by Fluent Community. Some people may not want that, but you can add a click here and add your affiliate ID. If you decide to become an affiliate for Fluent Community, somebody could click on that, buy it, and then you can get a commission. Show icon for header menu items. I kind of like icons, which is, again, these little doodads over here are icons. And use enhanced color contrast for accessibility. You can do that if you decide you need to. You've got a couple of different things over here for rich media, classic or modern. I thought that would change down here. So classic, the video is after the content. Modern would show the video if you have that embedded first, or an image that's in there. Post title requirements. Yeah, I want all posts to have a title, so I decided to make that required. You can make it optional, or you can just simply disable post titles. All right, so managers, these are going to be based off of the folks who are in your WordPress users. So if I want to add a manager, I can come over here and we can select a user. And let's say that I add my technical support, or my wife is also part of the business. And then you can make it an admin of everything. You can add as a space or discussion moderator, a course admin, or a course creator. So depending on who you've got working on your site, you have different roles that you can put in here. So I'm going to make this one an admin for all access, add a manager, and there you go. There's my technical support. Let's go over here to email settings. This is where you get some different options to email notifications to people based on what's happening. So who's it going to come from? Give it a from name, from email address. If they're going to reply to, these two are optional. And an email footer, by default, this is what they have. You're getting this email because you're a member of, the site name and so forth. And you can manage your preferences. There'll be a link to click for them there. Now, we talked about the powered by Fluent Community. So this is where you can enable it or disable it, but that's really up to you. And then these are the notification settings. So you just got a checkbox over here. Send an email to an author when there's a new comment added, when someone replies, when you get tagged or mentioned. Also, you can have a weekly digest for communities. And you can say which day is the digest going to be sent, like every Tuesday at 9 a.m. So let me save these settings. So features and add-ons. Most of these are in the advanced features are enabled except for the Giphy module. So let's talk about this. Leaderboards. That's basically showing who's engaging the most. Let me go back and take a look at the Fluent Community. And here we go, leaderboard. You can check on this. And this is going to be my own stuff, but in the last 7 days, you can see who's posted or got the most volume the last 30 days in all time. This is a great way to do leaderboards, because if you only do it by all time, well, whoever gets there first can probably gain more points than anybody else. But if there's a 30-day and there's a 7-day, that means every week somebody's got a chance to move up. If somebody goes on vacation, they're not going to be at the top of the leaderboard, and someone else gets a chance. So I think that is an excellent idea. All right, so user badges, you can set this up. And let's say if we want to add a new badge, I'm not going to do it, but you give it a title and you can give it a color and a background. It says for best UI, user interface, keep the colors empty. But I think that, you can come up with different badges, and you click on this, and then now you get to decide what is the icon for it. It could be an emoji, could be a shape. You could have your own custom SVG or custom image and put that for the badge that you're going to put up there. So that's why they're recommending that you leave the colors empty, because you're probably going to have your colors inside of whatever you're doing for the badge. So let's close that out. Course module settings. Let's take a quick look at that. Basically, all we're doing is enabling the course module. If you're not going to have courses, you could just disable that. Now, Giphy allows people who are posting in the discussions to use GIFs. And in order to do that, you have to enable this, and then you need to put in your Giphy API key. If you don't have one, it's pretty easy to find. So let's go take a look at, and so a quick Google search, request a Giphy API key, and you'll come over here to this page, and it'll show you exactly what to do. And basically, and then right here where it says visit our developer portal, you can create an account, and then you can go ahead and generate your Giphy API. So basically, you're creating, basically it thinks that you're creating an application that you're going to use it for. You start off with an account, and all it's going to ask you for is some basic information. You can log in with Facebook or Apple if you want to. And once you've got that API key, you just come back over here, paste it in. It doesn't cost you anything for just the API key. An emoji module, again, it's just enable or disable. Now, a media module, this is something where you want to be a little bit careful. Where are you going to store it? Are you going to have it on your local file system? I would not recommend you do that. You don't want to have your server storage and your server bandwidth being chewed up by things that your guests who are posting upload. I use Amazon S3. They also have Cloudflare R2, so you can configure this. And they recommend Cloudflare R2. I don't have that. I have Amazon S3. So I'll put my information in here. I'll assign which bucket subfolder I'm going to put it in, and it's easy to go. And it's not that hard to set up something for Amazon S3, and it's not very expensive. I do all of my site backups there, and I spend usually under $1 per month to have all of that backup space. It's cheaper than Dropbox. And there was a request on the forum asking for support from Dropbox or Google Drive. And the response back was, please don't use those services. They're not really good for this kind of thing. Amazon S3 I know is very fast. Cloudflare R2 I haven't worked with, but I suppose the reason that they've put that in there and they recommend it is that it's also fast and easy to go. I would really avoid using your local file system. Now, there are some other recommended plugins and FluentCommunity Chat. So they've got a chat thing where you can create a chat room for your community members. So that way, if they're on live simultaneously, they can have a discussion with each other rather than just posting and waiting for the next person to come along. And these things are some of their products, and some of them free service. So Fluent CRM is their email system, which I've gone back to using. I'd actually used this for several years. I switched for a year to ConvertKit, and now I'm back to Fluent CRM. Fluent Forms, that's my favorite WordPress form plugin. Fluent SMTP is a free plugin that they provide, which does a much better job of managing email from a WordPress server. It doesn't cost you anything. I would strongly recommend that you get this and install it. Even if you decide you're not going with Fluent Community or anything else, it's just a great way to connect to your email sending service. And Fluent Support is a help desk service. So those are some things that you can use to manage some of your integrations. Now, your topics, I don't have any topics right over here right now. You can just simply go over here, give it a title. You do need to put in a slug, which is basically what the WordPress URL end is going to be. So lowercase, maybe hyphens, no spaces, and you put that in there. If you want a topic subtitle and which space is it going to be in, you can do that. And then you can also have a little bit of privacy. Only admins or moderators can select this topic. So we talked about spaces and groups. Over here, you can add your groups, basically. So I've got a group that's called Community, and I've got a group that's called Get Started. These are by default. This is what comes to you out of the box. And as I said, you can move these things around if you want to, but if you want to actually create a new space, you do that in a different area. So let me go back home, and let's go over here to Spaces. Now, I am a moderator, so if I want to add a new space, Well, I can do that. And the space is either for a discussion or for a course. Let's click on course. You give it a title, again, the slug, short description. What privacy you're going to have. Is it public, private, or secret? And only invited students can view or enroll this. And there might be some times you want something secret. That's maybe it's a course that's just for you or just for a very small group. These are members that were added by you or an automation. So for example, you may have a form where people pay and then the form connects to this. So Fluent Forms would be a good way to do that. They've also got a plugin called Paymatic that can help you do that. And then that would go ahead and put them in there. And then you can change this to published when you're ready, but there's a draft by default. And of course, you can add a thumbnail. Again, 1200 by 630 is what they recommend. And then you can go ahead and create yourself a course. It would be the same thing with a discussion space, except for that you're not going to have a course with it. And then you've got these options over here. Again, title, slug, description, privacy stuff. And then there's the lock screen. I'll be honest with you, I'm not entirely positive of what the lock screen is going to be, so I'm going to leave that alone and allow users to request to join this. And then you can select the menu group that it's going to be with and who can view the space members. This is something that you have to decide if you want or not. Some people don't want to be on a public directory list and they don't necessarily want anybody else looking at them. I would limit that probably to moderators on my site. Some people may want to show it only for logged in users. And there's pros and cons. People who can be viewed by other members might be able to be contacted for something or other. So maybe you're a photographer. You're in the wedding business. You need to find someone who wants to hire you. You might collaborate with people who are in the florist business or catering or the venues. And you may want to find out who the other members are, and you may want your users finding out who the other members are so that they can network together. So that's really what your choice is here. Is it complete privacy, or is it for networking together, or you can expose it to anyone? I don't like that one. So for right now, I'm leaving this with only moderators. So I'll close this out. And let's go back to settings. So you got menu settings over here, and you can see that there are primary menu items. You can also have drop-down items, and you can add new links to these. So we saw that before where there were links at the top. Now your top links at the sidebar, we haven't seen anything there. We can click on that. Just kind of, you can have, an icon. You can give it a name, and then the URL that you want to put on there for whatever the link is. And then sidebar, bottom group. So top links, bottom links. And then if you need to, you can go ahead and add another group. Let's go down to privacy settings. So who can view all members page? By default, only logged in. I'm going to change that one for myself. Who can view membership spaces in user profile? And users can change their community username. So this is going to allow them to change it. And that was something that came up on the beta discussion. If you look at some of the things there, people didn't like their default username, or maybe they wanted to change it. So they can change their community username. I think, in my mind, that's a good idea. So we'll just save that. Now for course management, this course thing is not like LearnDash. This is for people who need to have modules and lessons. So you've got this over here, your course title, your slug, description, what your privacy policy is going to be, menu group, and for right now, I'm just going to say communities. You probably have one called a group called courses. And then this, so let's go ahead and create this. Okay, a little bit better. I've added my title, slug, and a short description. So we're going to go ahead and create that. We didn't put in this. And now you get to choose how you're going to start doing this. So we're going to add a section. And once you've built a section, you can add a lesson. So you can click add, and you're probably done, or add and edit. And then you can start putting in, here's a URL. So it could be from Vimeo, YouTube, Wistia, and more. I think I'm probably going to use bunny.net. It's just basically a URL. So if you want to have like a private thing on YouTube, or maybe even a public thing, depends on you, you can add that in here. So it's really kind of nice that you can just put a URL in. Some of the other services I looked at for school, for example, school would not accept anything from Searchy. I reached out to them, or now membership.io, and they said, yeah, that's not what we support, and we're not going to support it. So I thought, okay, you're limited with school, and that was a concern for me. So you can put your video in, you can put in your text, and as you start doing this, you can see that you've got your standard WordPress blocks. So you can put in here, you can add your headings, you can put in a paragraph, let's say, and we can go in here and get our things. We can bold as we need to and just make things the way we want to. Let's say if I wanted this to be a title, I'm going to change this and make it a heading. Then I can change it, to what kind of heading, H2, H3. So all the stuff that you're used to with the WordPress editor is available right here. So we'll just save that. And that fast, I've got a course. Now over here, video length, I haven't put one in yet. So if it does not automatically populate this based off of the URL that we were looking at earlier, then you can put this in here and that'll show up for the people who are looking at, your courses and how long the video is going to be. So this does not do hosting for your video. This is a place to display your course and your lessons, but your video hosting, you're going to want to do it someplace else. Again, don't put it on your server. Don't put it on Dropbox. You want to have a video host, which would be YouTube, Vimeo, or maybe bunny.net. And that is kind of a quick look. You can see who your students are. You can add students if you need to. Now, of course, you can do this with automation as you add people through an automated system to, when they buy a course. And the thing I like about it is since you can do this, let's say with Fluent Forms, you don't have to pay to use Zapier to add them in. So that's another cost savings for me over what I was doing with membership.io. So eventually, this is going to be my course and membership space. I'll probably change it from support because my first thought for this was actually not about Fluent Community. That came up after I had the idea for this. What I've got over here is a combination of things. I've got Fluent Boards, which is basically a project management tool. Fluent Support, which is a help desk ticketing system. And then I've also got Better Docs, which is a knowledge-based system. So if we go look at this page right now, what I'm going to do with my support site, which is maybe a membership site or a course site, whatever I want to do, you can go ahead and log in or create something. You can register for an account and put this information in. Then you'll get access to submit a support ticket, to join Fluent Community, or to read the knowledge base. So why am I doing this on a separate site rather than suburbiapress.com itself? Well, that's because I don't want strange logins on my blogging site. My main site, that is only for people who are part of my business. But I still need to be able to support people. I need to be able to give them a community to talk to. And now also to be able to have my courses all in one place. And that's what this website is going to be. So this is a completely different WordPress installation for my customers. And the reason I don't want people on my main blogging site is because every user account that you put on your site has the potential to be a security risk. Now, for this being a customer site, I think that's an acceptable risk. For my main site, when the work that I put in over there, I don't want that to have unknown people registering for that site. And that's just the way I do it. Also, this means that they are separate entities. So what people are doing here will not get bogged down by anything that I'm doing on the main Suburbia Press site. So that way they can keep on going. All right, so let's go back and take a look at this. So if we look at Fluent Community, this is going to be a very lightweight, very fast tool. That is something that WP Managed Ninja has really prioritized for a lot of their plugins. And they did a nice live stream video, and they mentioned in that video that what they were looking at is lightweight, fast. There are other WordPress solutions. For example, BuddyPress, which seems to kind of been abandoned. BuddyBoss is a product, and it's a fork of BuddyPress. I've got a lifetime license for BuddyBoss, but I haven't used it in a couple of years. I could have it on 5 sites, and I did have it on multiple sites. But it's big, it's heavy, it's slow. It doesn't work well under demand. The thing that the folks at WP Managed Ninja want for FluentCommunity is that it will work well under load. So what kind of server resources do you need? Well, they don't specify that in the docs, but they have kind of brought up a couple of things that they're running theirs on a $30 server from xCloud. So the CEO of WP Managed Ninja is an investment partner with xCloud. That's the company that I use and recommend as well. And it so happens that I've got a $30 server from them. That gives me, I think, 4 gigabytes of RAM, a couple of cores, plenty of disk space. And that is sufficient for running several, customers. Now, for example, there was a question on the group that asked, I'm going to have 1,000 users. They said, well, you may want 8 gigabyte of RAM. I'm thinking, is that per user or is that per concurrent user? I don't have an answer to that yet. And that's something that I'm going to be asking questions and see if I can find out and let you know. But server specs are basically the advice that they gave in the live stream was you don't want to use FluentCommunity on shared hosting. You want to use it on a VPS. And xCloud is the VPS I recommend. I'll have a link to that in the description below. And I think, honestly, if you're going to be in business, you're going to be doing things like having a support ticket system, having Fluent CRM, having a community system, you do want dedicated resources. Shared hosting is notorious for not giving you sufficient resources to run business tools. Looking at the cost of this, particularly if you get in on a lifetime deal. So the lifetime deal is going to be $199 for one site license, and then there will be discounts as you get more site licenses. And for the lifetime deal, that's it. You won't be paying annually. Now, once the lifetime deal is over, then there will be an annual payment, but it's still less than what you would pay to use sites like Circle or School. They can get you in for $99 a month, but those are usually limited, and the one that you really want is going to be $200 a month, which is what you would pay for the lifetime deal one time for one site license here. Now, granted, that's going to give you some things that other people are going to take care of it and manage, the hosting and all the back-end stuff. But if you're looking for something that you want to do on your own site for WordPress, this is it. Integrations, it clearly integrates with a lot of the WP Managed Ninja tools. I expect to see more. For example, one of the things that we see in School is a calendar. And as of yet, I don't see it in FluentCommunity. I expect that to be forthcoming because there are a lot of people on the board asking for a calendar. And they have Fluent Booking as one of their products. So I see that as kind of as hopefully an easy thing for them to integrate. And I would expect to see more like that. What I'm really looking at is a way to manage my own community, courses, and so forth on my WordPress site. I've tried both ways of using software as a service, things like ConvertKit. I've tried Fluent CRM, and you notice that I came back to Fluent CRM because it is much more manageable. The cost is easy to understand, and I'm not paying for things that I don't need. So, for example, with most email service providers, they charge you based upon the number of users that you have. And that number can get quite expensive. And it doesn't make a lot of sense because I would rather be charged on how much I'm spending to send email. It doesn't take much space to store, let's say, 1,000 or 5,000 contacts on my site. Why would I pay a significant amount more if I've gone from 1,000 to 1,001? Don't have a good answer for that. But you don't get charged that way with WordPress plugins. You get charged based on your usage. So that might be your server hosting, or in my case for Fluent CRM, I integrate that with Amazon Simple Email Service. And again, I'm paying like less than $1 a month to send emails. And it's a great bulk email service. It has a great reputation and rating. So I can do everything I need to do, and I'm not wasting money to line someone else's pockets. And there are services that are on ConvertKit, which I guess now is kit.com, and Searchy is now membership.io, that I really don't need. And there are services that I do need, like Community, which membership.io still doesn't have, even after a couple of years of saying that it was in something they were looking at. This gives me a lot of stuff. Also, notice that I'm not having to go use BuddyBoss. I don't have to use a wishlist member, something I used for quite a while, to lock things down. Well, I don't have to do that now. This does that for me. And you start looking at the plugins that you don't have to buy, the services that you don't have to buy. And for a simple need like mine, this is a perfect solution. Now, if you're in a school environment and you need a true learning management system, you're doing certificates or you're doing a lot of advanced features, LearnDash is probably still going to be the way to go. But if you're like most entrepreneurs who are doing courses and all you need is a way for people to log in, go to the modules and the lessons and, check off their progress and then have a community discussion right there, Fluent Community is going to be perfect for that. It's going to be economical, and that puts more money in your pocket at the end of the day. So like I said, this is a first overview. I do plan to do more in-depth videos on Fluent Community and how it integrates with some of the other things. And as new features come out, which, look, with WP Managed Ninja, there are always more features coming out. And that's one thing I like about them. They don't just put something out there and leave it. They keep working it and making it better and better. This is a company I really get behind and can recommend to you. So if you want to get this, you can go to suburbiapress.com/fluentcommunity. I'll also have a link below. And yes, that will be an affiliate link, but that means I get a small commission and you don't pay anything extra. It's just a quick and convenient and easy way to get there. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. Also, tell me, what kind of community are you going to build? Are you going to do courses? Do you have a particular topic or reason for your community? I'd really like to know how people are going to be using Fluent Community. Thanks so much. I'll see you again in the next video.